Right now, this morning, Jonathan Lemire passed along to me. Right now, Marco Rubio and Elon Musk texting or tweeting sweet nothings to each other on X. How exciting. I want to ask two people on this show that actually know an awful lot about economics, about where the investing class is on Donald Trump. Steve Ratner last week wrote a piece in the New York Times saying, while they're concerned about some of the chaos, most of his business friends still are supportive of Donald Trump. But you look at the front page of the Wall Street Journal, wary investors are starting to play defense. We're reading it absolutely everywhere, concerned about the growing chaos. Andrew, what are you hearing on the street?
Oh, I think there's absolutely a wariness. I mean, the question is this a temporary situation, as the president has tried to describe, or is this a longer-term issue where we could, as Zanny said, move into a recession? That is where we are right now, which is if these tariffs, I think, continue apace and the uncertainty remains, it's almost impossible to see this not turn down. If things reverse themselves and maybe, Trump does all sorts of other things to try to boost the economy, which I think is still a possibility, things could go the other way. So I don't think people know necessarily. But, Trump is right about this. In the short term, there is going to be pain.
That is certainly true, Andrew. I'm probably slightly more pessimistic than you are, in that I think everything we've seen in the last few weeks of how he behaves is that he can't resist the tariffs as threats of them, as tools of threats, and he believes in them. So I think there's going to be uncertainty. Even if there isn't a barrage on April 2nd, we won't know if there'll be more after that. I think this is not something that's going to go away. And I think that uncertainty, coupled with an even greater degree of uncertainty on his foreign policy, which we haven't talked about, but which for those of us in Europe is really freaking us out, means that I think people are generally, the uncertainty is soared about the U.S. economy. And so that's one of the reasons why people are taking their money out. Foreigners.
Editor-in-Chief of The Economist, Zanny Minton Beddoes, and CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin. Thank you both very much.